Ready to get started? My name is Amy Coppage, and I am Vice Chairman of the Kentucky Public Service Commission, and welcome to this local public hearing. I am accompanied by several members of Commission staff. If you all could stand up so people know who to ask any questions from after the hearing. First off, we had a snafu with the room, so we apologize for it being this small. Hopefully, we don't get an influx of more people. We're going to try to keep the door open so it doesn't get too stuffy. So if anybody has, I can't imagine you're having any trouble hearing, but if you're having trouble hearing, let us know, or if we have to close the door, if it starts getting too hot in here, just someone raise your hand, let me know. We are here for the purpose of taking public comment on the joint application of New Singular Wireless, doing business as AT&T Mobility and Tillman Infrastructure, LLC, to construct a 149-foot tall wireless communication tower in Grayson County, Kentucky, at 2589 Bluebird Road, Falls of Rough, 40119. The case number is 2021-00398. This meeting is being held pursuant to Kentucky Revised Statute 278-655. The purpose of this meeting is to hear from members of the public who wish to comment on the AT&T Mobility proposal. The Commission understands that this proposed tower has generated some interest, and we recognize this can be an emotional issue. I know everyone here this evening will present their opinions in a respectful manner and respect the right of others to be heard. Now I'm going to explain how we'll proceed. Those of you wishing to speak should have indicated your intention to do so when you signed in. If you have not signed in, we still have a sheet up there. I have the names of those who have signed in already. Based on the number of people who have indicated a desire to speak, I'm going to allow 7 minutes per speaker so that everyone has an opportunity to be heard. I'll keep the time, and I'll let you know when you have 1 minute remaining and when the time is up. Those of you who do not wish to speak, or if you run out of time, you can submit comments in writing at any time before a final order is issued. Instructions on how to submit those comments to the Commission are available from where you signed in. You can also find that information on our website at psc.ky.gov. It's real easy. The easiest way is to email to psc.comment@ky.gov. Please include the case number 2021-00398 and any comments you submit. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the Commission's website in the case record. A summary of the public comments will be prepared for the Commission and will become part of the case record as well, and all written comments will be entered into the case record. Please keep these things in mind as we get started. Because the Commission acts in a quasi-judicial capacity, in other words, we're going to judge the application, and we have to rule on the application, I cannot answer questions pertaining to the substance of the case. However, any questions you raise during the meeting will be of assistance to us and our staff as we review the application. Further, staff will be available after the public comment session to answer any questions you have about the procedure that will be applied to this application. We can consider comments only on matters that are before it and that we have the authority to review. The principal issue before us is whether construction of the proposed tower is a matter of public convenience and necessity. We have no authority over environmental matters or issues relating to radio waves or whether they involve private or public lands. Therefore, I would encourage you to focus your comments on the issues that we are allowed to judge. Comments on matters falling outside our authority won't be considered by the Commission as we reach our decision. When you come up to speak, please state your name and address. Keep your comments to the allotted time so that others have an opportunity to address us. Before I call up people in the order you signed in, are there any elected officials here who would like to speak on the application? Not seeing anyone jumping up, I will go down the list. First signed up was Roger Nicolai.
All right. And then, so a couple questions. One is, can I look this way? Face everybody.
There's a camera there
see
and there's a
that.
camera there,
Okay, so am I good though?
I don't care.
Perfect. Then 7 minutes, yeah?
Yeah.
So I got a lot that I'm going to try to work through. If you just want to keep me honest.
Okay,
I think I can do it.
And again, any that you don't get through, you're welcome to submit all of it as a written comment.
Okay.
Okay, your
All
time's
right.
starting.
All right. Well, my name is Roger Nicolai. My wife Janelle and I were here tonight to explain exactly what the proposed cell tower means, not only for the Grayson County side of the Falls of Rough, but then particularly for our family and our property. I think you're all deserving to hear of this. To begin with, the cell tower is going to go up on our neighbor's property. That's Kim and Terry Newton. And I'm just going to say that I'm grateful that they found a way to generate income on their property. I know Janelle and I are trying, and it's not always easy. But on top of that, they've been good and kind neighbors. They've helped us. They've taught me in many ways, whether it's grass, hay, whatever, and they've supported our business. Everything that follows, I want to be looked at through that particular lens. They have been good and kind neighbors, and this is more of a business issue than anything. So, having said that, Janelle and I depend exclusively on a cellular signal because we are so far back from the road, we can't get cable to our house. All we can do is depend either on a cell signal or on satellite. So, having said that, we're not against getting a cell tower in here. We're certainly not against increased data capacity or built-up infrastructure within the Falls of Rough. We understand that. We're not going to argue on health issues. We're not talking about 5G being evil or anything of that nature. We appreciate the added infrastructure potential. Now, here's the but, and everybody knew that there was going to be a but. I cannot, in good conscience, to my wife and to my family, allow this tower to be constructed in its proposed location without opposing it, and opposing it bitterly. So I brought printouts if anybody wants to see them. That's going to explain exactly where the proposed site is. The proposed site is going to be on the immediate western edge of my property. It's within 500 feet of my house. These aren't simply aesthetic concerns. The construction of this site will cost me and my family nearly $30,000 at the immediate completion. I got to this because, again, it's going to affect property value. Through my own research and through verified peer-reviewed studies, I'm being told that any house that's as close to the cell tower as we are is going to be suffering nearly a 10% depreciation. So these numbers are specific. I have the study if anybody wants to review it. I have multiple studies, and I am more than willing to email those out to anyone. The particular study that I'm talking about tonight is Affuso, Cummings, and Lee. It was published in 2017. These are a multivariable approach. Again, they talked about visibility specifically defined as 2,300 feet, and again, nearly 10% loss in property value. Let's see, in an effort to make sure that I appropriately represented their study, I did contact the authors of said study. I asked them to examine the same information that I have freely available on Google Earth with some annotations that I had sent to them, and they said, and I quote, "Homes within the proximities as close as those depicted on your photo lost economic value," end quote. One can only imagine that the property owners of the leased area for the tower, that is the Newtons, would suffer the greatest financial burden in regards to a decreased property value, with the site being built on their actual property. Their financial burden, however, is offset through a multi-decade lease. I don't have that ability. I don't have the opportunity to offset any of the associated loss in property value. So as it stands, the only thing I have the ability to do is to ask the Newtons and to ask the PSC to consider what I'm saying and rule in our favor, which effectively would just mean please move the cell tower site. So I don't want to limit their ability to generate any income. I don't want to just be a nuisance, and I don't want to take away the ability for the Falls of Rough to have a more economic, more fruitful infrastructure for communication. The whole reason for this meeting and why it's happening tonight is because multiple residents of Grayson County wrote in and said, hey, we wanted all the facts to be known. Again, we're requesting them to move it within their property. I'm not looking to, I'm just repeating myself at this point. I want them to be able to use their property well for themselves. I don't want Janelle and I to take a hit to our property value, whether that property is passed to our kids, whether it's sold, whether we live in it because we're immortal forever. So going on with all that, I have the information. I'm more than willing to go through the information with everyone. I'm more than willing to email you whatever. But that's the gist of it. My wife and I are bearing exclusively the cost of this facility. I want everyone to get what they want. I don't want that to happen to the detriment of our property. Again, anybody has any questions, I could give you the info. If you're willing, yeah, I would appreciate you writing into the PSC and saying, hey, maybe there's a better way to do this. Better way to do this that satisfies their wants and their desires and needs, keeps not the county, but the Falls of Rough area in mind, and just mitigates the damage to our property value. I'm not even asking for a complete alleviation. I'm just looking to mitigate it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
This is just for comments, so if you want to make a comment, that's great. There'll be a time where you can ask staff questions after, and you can ask Mr. Nicolai questions after as well. If that's... Next person I have is Janelle Nikolai.
Hello. Can y'all hear me? Oh, yeah. Okay. My husband's more the ad-libber. I'm not. I'm very by the paper here. But I'm going to mirror a lot of what he said. I do want to start off by saying thank you to the Newtons. They have been wonderful neighbors. There are no hard feelings for us. This is really just business and protecting our investment. All right. My name is Janelle Nikolai. I live at 2663 Bluebird Road, Falls of Rough, immediately right next to where the proposed cell tower is going to be located. We reside here full-time with our farm and our 4 children. I want to start by saying that I acknowledge the community's desire for better cell service and internet here in Falls of Rough. While I have found the lack of services part of the charm of living out here, I recognize that many people do not find it charming. So I am here to say let's get a cell tower up, but let's do it with respect to neighboring properties and with the least negative impact possible. We bought our farm in 2016 in quite a bit of disrepair. We have poured lots of labor and dollars into this property, both in the home and on the land. Some of you may know us as the farm at Red River. Some of you may know us as the farm at Rough River, just down the road. As with anybody that buys real estate, you hope for it to be an investment and increase in value. This farm has been no different for us. It has been an investment. As my husband mentioned earlier, there was a study done by Affuso, Cummings, and Lee, which showed a near 10% drop in property value when cell towers were located within 2,400 feet from a residence and visible from the residence. The current proposed location for this cell tower is less than 500 feet from our home, and it is visible out our side door, and back windows. It is within spitting distance of our property line. My guess is that this location was chosen by the cell company and by the property owners to be the most visually appealing and least disturbing to their property. These are things that would help to maintain their property value. This tower might be tucked away on the property owner's land, but the lay of the land puts it towering literally right into our backyard. The fact of the matter is that the proposed location makes the most impact on our property value. There are other locations on their property with comparable space and altitude that would suit a cell tower just as well as the proposed location. So, I'm here to make it known to the public that there is a cost to this cell tower going up, and that cost is falling exclusively on our family. We will be paying real money for this tower to go up, not the property owners, not all the folks living out of sight and benefiting from the better cell service, but our family is paying for it by taking an immediate property value loss. Again, I'm not trying to cease the build of a cell tower. I'm asking for it to be moved to a different location on the property owner's acreage to do less damage than the current proposed location. I think it is important to note that the only reason this public hearing was made possible was because a handful of Grayson County residents wrote into the Kentucky Public Service Commission requesting this. They wanted to be sure that the public had full knowledge of the proposed tower and its cost and the opportunity to comment. Some of them are able to be here tonight, and I thank you all for your interest and support thus far. I also think it is worth noting that the residents that wrote in requesting a public hearing had no financial gain from this cell tower. Those with financial gain from this tower were not going to notify anyone but the bare minimum legally required so they could get this tower up. So please keep that in mind. It is those concerned with the location that made this public hearing possible. That is why we are here tonight. If the property owners want the cell tower up, if the cell company wants the tower up, and they are receiving compensation and financial gain from this tower, then they should also be taking the full responsibility, not pushing it off on innocent bystanders by making us pay for their financial gain. I keep hearing from the lawyers and from the property owners that this is a small tower. It's only 149 feet. It's small. If the tower is so small and so minimally disturbing as they are trying to sell it to the public, then it should be no problem to move it elsewhere. If anybody here would like to write into the Kentucky Public Service Commission in support of moving the tower, I'm happy to get you their contact info after this hearing. We would really appreciate the support. We don't have the luxury of endless funds and lawyers like the cell company does. We are requesting support from the community. And again, we are not trying to cease the build of the cell tower. We are not trying to take away income and multi-decade payments generated from the cell tower that the property owners will be receiving. We are simply trying to lessen the damage we are inevitably going to take with a 149-foot cell tower and a 60-foot by 60-foot compound going up right next door. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Emily Parks.
Hello, my name is Emily Parks, and I live at 206 Stoneview Road. It's Litchfield, but it's pretty close to where Janelle lives. I'm here mostly for support. I'm not going to say anything profound that they haven't already said, except for I also have 4 kids that are the exact same age as theirs. And so for me as a mom and trying to homestead, much like the Nicolais are doing, for me it is a little eye-opening that it is going to take away from their property value and what they are potentially working for their children. So the cell tower essentially is going to be years worth of income, and it's going to provide for their family. And I think the whole thing that bothers me is that it's taking away from the legacy that the Nicolais are trying to build for their family. And having 4 kids and working in this way of life, homesteading and farming, we know it's not easy and it costs a lot of money. And I think we just need to be more aware that it's potentially taking away from their children's future and not just a tower that's going to help with cell service for our community. So I guess that's all I have to say is just keep in mind the generational damage that this could be doing to a piece of property that they are trying so hard to invest in.
Thank you. Next, I have Terry Newton. Okay. Kimberly Newton, would you still like to speak?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I'm Kimberly Newton, and tower's going on our property, which I thought in America, you could put the stuff where you wanted to on your property. I think we've had that discussion. I don't tell you your animals can't run on my yard and poop on my porch and, all that good stuff. I feel like the best place for the tower is where it is so that you can see your kids from there. If they're out playing, they get close to it, we can see it. You know what I'm saying? If we put it back up on the hill, it's too hard to get to. We'd have to block off your barn to get a road to go up there because of the grade of it. But this way we can watch and make sure your kids don't get in there. Wouldn't you think? But I feel like we need a tower because we need cell service. My husband had a heart attack Sunday. If we'd have been at the farm and down in the field, it probably wouldn't have been good. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Next, I have, I think it's James Spencer.
Name is James Spencer. I'm at 243 Muskie Road. And guess what I had to use this morning? I had to use a cell phone, and it worked. I called 911. I had to go to the emergency room today. My blood pressure, you can't believe it, was 200 over 190. Okay, that's just this morning. Well, this weekend, Saturday, I was talking to my son. He gets off at work at Ragu every morning. This is not the first time it's happened. We lose the signal. After I get through talking with him, I come outside and here's my neighbor's little dog. She lives in Greenville, Indiana. She said she tried to call me, and I looked at my phone. I didn't even get a signal, didn't ring or nothing, but I had a missed call. In her house, I could throw a rock and hit it. So there you go. I live by myself. I'm 87 years old. I've had a history of heart problems, and if I need it when it's happened like this morning, I need that phone. And I hope this improves the signal to my house. Thank you.
Thank you. Next I've got Hugh Coppage. And if you said yes and have changed your mind, you can decline.
I don't get at home, so I thought I'd talk here. I'm free with. My name's Hugh Coppage. We live at 187 Chipmunk Lane, and we don't have any. We got half a bar maybe at our house if you stand outside and do this. And we're kind of like Jim there, or James. We can't call anybody. A lot of people call us. We drop calls. And I'm not quite as old as Jim, but I am 71. And I do not want the tower delayed. And understand there is like a 10% loss in property. I don't know if it will happen. I don't know if it's in this area or it's around the city or whatever. If a tower goes up, that property actually depreciates that much. I feel like it wouldn't depreciate if somebody wanted to buy their property, but I don't know that. I don't know that at all, and so I just don't want the tower delayed. You know, is all I want. And I'm kind of like Jim there, James. We need it, and a lot of people around there. There's probably 400 families in 3 or 4 subdivisions here that are here usually in the summertime, and they all complain, and they have switched to Horizon. Some of them have because AT&T is just non-existent for a lot of people here, and we wish to have the tower. So I don't want to step on the Nicolai's toes, but I just want the tower to keep on coming and move forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Tiffany Sweeney is who I've got next.
You should be able to hear me really well because I'm in line with the microphone. My name is Tiffany Sweeney. I live at 121 Delk Lane in Big Clifty. I am on the other side of the county. I have no interest in getting a better signal out of this. I have no visual impact by this, so I just want to disclose that fully. I am completely here to support my friends, and I'm very glad to be able to say that you are my friends. They're very wonderful people. I am here on a humanitarian effort to say we are in the process of building a community. We're trying to build a community where we can rely on each other and count on each other and help each other and listen to each other. And these two people right here are building something, and they are contributing to this community. And their property is a part of that effort to build something in this community. I have watched these people tirelessly put this property back together. I have watched these people put themselves out into the community to the farmer's market. They have been there. They provide something for this community, and they are trying to build that up continuously, day after day after day after day, and they're trying to show their kids how to do it so that this community has something to count on day after day after day after day. And all I think we need to do is listen to them and say, you know what, maybe they have a point here. Maybe they have a need here that needs to be considered. It's really important for us as community members to really start listening to the people who contribute to our community and provide resources, because we can't count on anything outside of each other right now. And if we start undermining each other and we start taking each other out at the knees just because something is more convenient than something else, we have way bigger problems than a cell phone tower. We have a huge problem. We tell our kids every single day that we need to listen, we need to listen, we need to listen. We need to, as adults, start listening to each other. We need to listen to our community members, and we need to start building this community up. And I applaud the Nicolais for their position as being willing to let this go forward, period. I applaud this family, I'm sorry I didn't get your last name, but I applaud this family for being willing to provide the service on their land. We just need to come to a place where everybody gets what they need out of this situation. So I would ask that you just take that into consideration, that these two people right here are contributing to your community. And they are doing that with every ounce of effort that they can possibly pour into it. And they just need a little bit of help. They just need a little bit of consideration. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next I have Martha Coppage.
Yeah, they make fun of me saying I talk and my husband gets to talk, but he's the one that runs around the countryside talking. People even ask him to leave because they can't get the work done. So, anyways, I'll be the first to say we need a cell tower. I mean, we can't walk outside. Of course, we're on the lake, down in the cove, Paradise Acres, and there is no cell service down there. And I see people driving their carts out, and they're waving their phone, and they're trying to get a signal. It's really bad. And I never thought about losing 10% on your farm. And, you know, if it could be moved to a different spot, you know, so be it. And I want everybody to be happy. And you know we need a cell tower real badly. I mean, we have no service at all. And everybody's changing to Verizon because of it. AT&T's really missed out. And that's all I have to say is we're all getting old, and we need cell tower. Well, we need a cell tower. Anyways, and I do have AT&T because where our other home is, we have AT&T. You know, Verizon isn't in Ohio County at all. So I stayed with AT&T even though it's miserable. I don't want you to lose 10% on your land, you know.
Thank you. I believe Mr. Newton would like to go ahead and make your comment now.
I'll try not to extend it for long enough. My name's Terry Newton. I'm the landowner that where they're proposing to put the cell tower. I live at 2589 Bluebird Road. I kind of wanted to wait a little bit later into this to get up here and speak to everyone and what my opinion is of having the cell tower. I understand your guys' concern, but I keep hearing about business, and you guys will strive off of this cell tower because you both have phones. You conduct your business over Facebook and stuff like that. This can push your farm to another limit, you know, by having a tower there so close that you could be able to teach your kids more if you use the internet service for your homeschooling, as you say. I'm not doing this, or we're not doing this to seek benefits off money of it. I can care less about the money. I'd give them the spot to put the cell tower up, but I don't want to discontinue our friendship over something like this. We have considered other locations that are not feasible because we would be destroying too many trees. I'm not a tree hugger by all means, but we try to plant as many trees on our properties each year as we can. We're putting in an orchard. We put up a lot of pine trees, fixing to buy about another 100 more or so this year to put in. So really by putting a cell phone tower in, your business should flourish, I would think, because of everybody that has businesses around here that does not have these capabilities of having cell service could possibly get better cell service, so their business would flourish too. Not to mention the people, and we all know sitting here, all the people that come from out of Louisville, Elizabethtown, Owensboro, and surrounding big cities come out here to have a getaway time on the weekends. Some party, some don't. Some are out here to have, a meaningful, quiet time. And sometimes that's hard to do, Roger, I understand. Because I get tired of that noise, boats going up and down the river myself, But the thing of it is, we all know that, that cell service has to be. I mean, this is just the way the world is going to start being. If you elect to go off the grid, you need to be off the grid. I mean, you don't need to use your cell phones. I mean, if you're going to homeschool your kid, you're going to live like Amish. If that's how you want to live, then that's fine. But don't deprive everybody else that's trying to have businesses down here to flourish from getting this cell tower. So, I know that it's maybe not, it's probably 800-900 feet from your house. Me being a carpenter, judging distance, I can probably pretty well guess it's pretty close. It's also not close enough to the property line as far as, it's way further than spitting distance. But anyway, if there's an easement that runs through your property already, this doesn't intrude on your property line at all as far as where it's located. And we're doing a bare minimum of tearing out any trees or anything like that there to have this thing put up. As you're looking out your back door, there's already a row of tree lines that goes up that hillside. So you're only going to see probably, so much of the top of that cell tower. And that's not the point behind all this. The point is that your business should flourish from this. I mean, you could advertise more on internet, people, you can get more communications to people out here that don't get that communication, that could come down and buy more produce from your farm. I mean, so I'm not going one way or another. I'm not saying that, I'm really for this tower. I'm not for it. My wife and I are not for it for the money. When we very first talked about this and they contacted us about it, we said, hey, the kids are getting left behind down here. The ones that had to start doing all this virtual learning and everything are being left behind. I know your children are homeschooled, and that's great. I wish a lot more people could do that. I wish I was smart enough to homeschool mine, so. But anyway, we weren't. And I just want you to know that there's no disrespect to you guys or anything. We're neighbors. We'll continue to be neighbors. So I just want you to know that, I appreciate your, what you're doing to try to, make sure that your land doesn't depreciate. But some of the statistics that I heard you say, the 10%, I've also done a little research myself, and actually it's 10 to 19%. That's in the city and the suburbs. I haven't seen anywhere that I've read any studies being done on rural areas. So I really don't think that this would disrupt the price of your property because of it. I really don't, but I'm not a realtor, so I'll leave it at that. And like I said, we'll talk later. I wish you would have came and kind of gave us a heads up before we got blindsided coming back from Florida with this. And like my wife said, let me catch a breath because I just had a heart attack Sunday and near death. But anyway, that's all I want to say. I just want to go over and catch my breath and get me a drink. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to be heard who has not already had a chance to be heard? Is there someone else on the sheet? Okay. I have Eric Higdon.
Yep. How you doing? My name's Eric Coopton, and I live in Georgetown, Indiana, and I'm one of the group of people that somebody talked about a while ago. We have a place on Muskie Road, 99 Muskie Road, and we've had it for 15 years. I'm a career policeman. I spent 37 years, 6 months, and 3 weeks with the New Albany Police Department. And the part that, when this thing came up, the part that struck me, you know, Jim Spencer loved this man. And if he needs to call his son, if he needs to call an ambulance, that's pretty much paramount. Because in my line of work, I've been retired 3 years, seconds count. Seconds makes a difference between living and dying. And I'm breaking down. I have a knee problem. I just had a knee replacement. Went through COVID back in December. My wife almost died from it. She's 10 years older than me. I'm 6, I'll be 64. She'll be 75 this year. And when we're down here, the most frustrating thing, the inconvenience part is a pain in the butt. I would call my daughter, who died of cancer in 2020, and through one conversation, and this was a matter of routine. I have AT&T because their service in Georgetown and Louisville area is awesome. But, I mean, I had Sprint, and the tin cans and string was better than Sprint, okay? But with AT&T, in one conversation, I would call her back 3 times. She would call me back 3 times. And that's just a normal conversation. But if you needed somebody and couldn't get them, can you imagine how hopeless that would be? I've seen that hopelessness when I was working. And in your situation that just popped up, could have been tragic.
200 over 190.
God love you. But the part that I'm mainly concerned with is when you need the police, when you need the ambulance, it's far enough away without being delayed by a dropped call, call me back. They call you back, but you can't talk. You know, it's a public safety issue. In our subdivision, it's right off Paradise Acres, it's Camp Wedeline. We've had a series of burglaries. We have 2 people who had bought cameras, and with Mediacom and not having good service with the internet, it dropped the signal. Their cable wasn't cut, it dropped the signal, and a day or so later they found out that they had been burglarized. So he went through the effort to buy cameras, to get internet. He didn't want internet at the lake because when he comes to the lake, he's like, I think we want to have a good, peaceful, quiet time. And I don't party near as much as I did when we first come down here at 64. I'm slowed way down. But I come down here for peace, but I still have 2 children. I have 11 grandchildren, and it would just kill me to miss a call if it was an emergency. The public service and the safety issue, I think, needs to be. Mr. England, who has the boat storage place out here on 79, how many times have we, in one conversation, had to call each other 3 or 4 times?
Plus I have a lot of missed calls.
Yeah, but in today's time, with the technology that's available, to sacrifice the safety, and I say public safety, and the ambulance service, if there's a chance to get a tower, I'll put a tower up. And I'm sorry if it's going to affect your property and your property value, but my concern is the public service and the missing the call, or the call gets dropped when Mr. Spencer's needing an ambulance, and when they finally, if they got the address and they show up and he's dead, because that could very well happen. I think that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone? Yes, ma'am. You can come on up.
And what was your name?
Vicky Catlin. I'm not real good at speaking, but I live on Paradise Acres Road, across the field from them, and I want the best for them, and I want the best for them, but I want the best for me. my husband, myself, and my neighbor all drive school buses. When you don't have cell phone service and they call school off, and if you're not watching TV, like the last time before last they called school off, I got nothing. I had no idea school was called off. I was getting ready to go for my bus, and I was like, and then one of my neighbor that has Verizon, because she always has service, so she texted me and she said, school's called off? No, I didn't know that. So then I've had parents try to call me, and you need to drop Johnny off at Susie's house, the babysitter or whatever, and it's, and it's like, oh my gosh. Sometimes I can text, and sometimes I can't. We even have Mediacom internet, which makes the phone service, well, Mediacom doesn't work very good either sometimes. Shh. So, but the cell phone, AT&T, I'm sorry, is over that area, it's terrible. You really need to do something about it. But make everybody happy if you can, okay? Or who am I saying that to? Whoever.
Is there anyone else who would like to be heard before we close the public comment period?
Can I say something else?
I think you have about 1 more minute, so
Do I have to go to the mic or can I just stand?
go to the mic so we make sure we get it recorded.
Okay. Okay, I know I've already spoke, but I just want to state, I don't think, I'm not 100% sure, the actual point is, I think the point is getting across, but what I'm trying to say is that they don't want the tower to not be there, right? Everybody is for the tower because we all live on our phones, we all have cell phones. I do work on my phone, that's how I make money, but I think for them, it's just, they're trying to be heard that maybe relocate, right? Because you all are neighbors, I think maybe that is just what they're saying is a relocation, not that it needs to be stopped. I just wanted to state that because I heard a lot of we need cell phones and it's a public thing and it's going to help everybody. We are all in agreement that we live through our phones and they work through social media, and so it'd be great. I think they're just stating that maybe let's move the tower where it's not so close in proximity to their land. Thank you.
May I add one more thing to my comment also?
Yeah,
Real
then
quick, I understand this is abnormal, I get that, I'm sorry. One thing I also wanted to add to my comments is that I did have the opportunity to walk the property a few days ago, and I just wanted to let it be known from a third party who, again, like I said, I'm not from the area, this isn't affecting my cell phone signal, I'm not going to see it every day, but I did get the chance to walk their property. This is going to be very impactful. And one of the aesthetic values of being in this area, especially if they're looking at agritourism, having people on their property, having people come and buy on their property, this is going to be seen. It's going to be seen in a very big way. It is going to be an impact on their property. So if they're looking at any kind of agritourism, this is going to impact. Also, if they ever were to sell their property, this is going to impact because the draw to an area like this is not having those kinds of things around you. So that is going to make an impact on their ability to sell their property. So just from a third party that didn't get to touch on that.
yeah, then we'll need to stop the back and forth. This has been a little unorthodox anyway.
I don't mean to debate anything.
No, I get it.
My name's Terry Newton. I know she uses this impact, but the studies don't show that. I haven't seen anything that says this cell tower will impact their property or their business as far as that in a rural area. I want to emphasize rural area, not city limits and suburbs and so forth. So, and again, to recant, yes, the cell phone company did come out. We walked the property to find the best location for it without disturbing the trees, tearing out trees and all that. There is another location up by the house, the old house, which is even closer to their property, with the way that the property line runs after they bought their garage.
Terry,
So,
not to the house.
so,
It's further
but
from our house. You're right, it's closer to our property.
right,
It's further
but
from our
then
house.
you would have to clear more, and then it's also in the easement that's already there for the electrical that goes through to the Cooppage's property. So, I mean, that was out of the question, that area up there altogether. So we elected to try to, keep it back out of everybody's view by putting it where we put it. And then again, the tree line along the roads, that's our tree line. That's the biggest part of that road's our road going up there. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point is that in the winter months, yes, you'll see the cell tower because the leaves will be off trees. Summer months, you won't be seeing about half that cell tower because of the way you're looking up at that. So I don't know what your trajectory is or if you have one. But anyway, long story short is I just wanted to make sure this impact doesn't stop us from, moving forward with a cell tower that's going to benefit and could flourish your business and everybody else's around here. So, and not only that, like the gentleman said, public safety. I mean, that should be priority, period.
Then let's
Even
make it a public
even for
utility.
you
Let's make
guys,
it a public
for your
utility,
kids.
Independent on
So-
eminent domain.
So-
But they're not gonna do that,
Yeah,
right?
let's not have a debate.
Right.
You all can
I
discuss
understand that,
with
yes.
each other
I mean,
after.
Well, I mean, like I said, I hold no grudges. I mean, I'm just a calm person. I don't want to fall out.
He's
or
been
anything,
good to us.
So, yeah, we're good neighbors. I mean, but, we done the walk of the property, and that was the best location, was it nested over there in the woods, kind of down a little bit. Where you're looking at, it's not gonna sit right there on the top. It's actually going off to the corner. I don't know if you've been over there. Well, maybe you better not trespass on me. But I'm just kidding. But anyway, if you actually look at the layout where it's laid out at, it's down over the hill a little bit. It's not right on top of the hill. So maybe I can invite you over and you can look at it. But anyway, I just don't want businesses to go bad. And again, like I said, neighboring cities around here, there's a lot of business conducted out there on those boats. I mean, that's good. I mean, I'd like to see for you guys' business to flourish too by your advertising, over the internet or Facebook and all that. So I mean, I'm hoping that maybe you can do a study and get back with these people with what it does to property in rural areas as opposed to suburbs and city. That's all I ask.
I want to thank everyone for coming this evening and for sharing your reviews with the commission and with each other in this kind of unorthodox way we went about this tonight. Thank you also for the respect and courtesy you have shown each other. We absolutely welcome your written comments. You can email those and include the case number, which was 2021-398. That email is psc.comment@ky.gov. You can also mail them to the Public Service Commission at 211 Sauer Boulevard, Frankfort, Kentucky 40601. Commission staff, who are right over here, and AT&T mobility representatives will be available to meet informally with anyone who has any questions that you might have about the application. That would be the AT&T folks, or the process, and that would be our PSC staff. Thank you again so much, and have a good evening.